Next item, hurricane recovery updates from the Federal Interagency Recovery Coordination Team. Leda, Khoury. So the purpose is to provide updates on federal resources and responses from the Interagency Recovery Coordination Team, or the IRC, to the CHNEP and her comments and recovery assistance needs after recent hurricanes Helene and Milton. So this connects to our public engagement activity 3.1 to strengthen partner collaboration in education and engagement programs, and a new activity 3.2, bringing our partners together, providing resources and coordinating natural disaster and episodic events response and recovery efforts. Okay.
All right. Thank you. So good morning, everybody. My name is Leda Khoury, and I serve as the Federal Disaster Recovery Coordinator from FEMA, assigned to work for the Hurricanes Helene and Milton recovery piece. But first of all, I would like to thank the CHNEP and certainly Jennifer Hecker for the partnership that we have been able to continue building upon since Hurricane Michael, when the first time we met in Punta Gorda with the introduction of the EPA Sustainability Advisor, who works also as part of the team for the Interagency Recovery Coordination. So very quick, I would like to give an overview of what the IRC is. So IRC is one of the components that is deployed with FEMA as part of the recovery piece of the disaster declaration. And what our role is basically to work directly with federal, state, and local agencies in order to ensure that not only we bring full capability of the federal government when looking into recovery issues, identifying what the needs are, where there is an opportunity for collaboration and for support. And later on, we'll go more into details about this particular federal agency. So there are 6 primary federal agencies that work as an umbrella. And what I mean by umbrella is that these agencies have a multiple agencies that can be brought into a disaster through them. So these are community assistance, which is managed through FEMA. We have the economic, which is through Department of Commerce. Housing issues, related issues then are managed through the Housing and Urban Development Agency. Then we have Health and Human Services, which is managed by the Department of Health and Human Services, which now also includes the education piece that we can bring as part of the recovery efforts. Then we have infrastructure, which is managed through the United States Corps of Engineers, and then the Natural Cultural Resources, and that is through the Department of Interior. The idea, again, is to bring all these different agencies when we work with communities, state, and counties in order to assist in the long-term recovery piece. In addition to the federal partners, we have the ability to have philanthropic advisors. We work with private organizations and with any also voluntary organizations that can be part of the long-term recovery. The idea is to, again, assess in multiple aspects of the recovery, whether that is technical assistance, whether that is identifying funding sources, or perhaps to help with the building capacity. That means that we can provide trainings, we can bring peer-to-peer. If any community, county, or town is interested and they identify a specific gap. We, meaning FEMA, comes to a disaster right after a declaration is granted by the President of the United States. And we come basically to support and to the request of the Florida Department of Emergency Management when we are in Florida. So, but any state that submits a request to the governor's office, and if it's granted, then that's the entity that is going to bring us to work in support of any activities that they have from the beginning of the response as we work through the recovery. So what you see here on the bottom is the timeline of how the IRC has been working from the time that it was the IRC staff was deployed. The first 3 months, we used to generate what we call the recovery needs assessment, and that means that we engage with different communities, counties, and then we identify what the needs are, and then we try to start aligning them to what there's the type of resources that we can provide. And we do that through the what we call the recovery support strategy development. That's when we do the deeper dive on what those needs are and how they align to any of the capabilities of the 6 primary agencies that I talked to you about. After we complete this piece, then we move to what is called implementation. And that's the time that we could take, depends on what the support we're providing to counties, communities. It can be anywhere from 3 months to a year or beyond. Next slide, please. As I mentioned earlier, we had been, we established the relationship with the CHNEP during Hurricane Michael. And moving forward, for Hurricane Ian, we continue that interaction. And from that moment, there were a series of questions that were brought up to CHNEP by its partners and members. And what we have done so far is provide a response in some of these general questions, either by identifying possible resource or who is the entity that perhaps can provide more of the direct assistance in relation to the question. Next slide. So as a highlight, what I will say is that from the minute that IRC started working for Hurricane Helene and Milton, we, meaning we, again, the IRC, through the economic recovery support functions, which is the one I mentioned earlier, basically hosted what we call the Federal Interagency Resources Exchange. And those are sessions that were basically organized through the Economic Development Agency in coordination with local partners. In the case when we had our session in Punta Gorda, it was again through the assistance and coordination from the CHNEP. So that is one of the methods that is utilized to gather and bring county and community representatives, so then we can hear what are some of the general issues that they're concerned with. As a result of fire events throughout the entire state of Florida, there were about 227, again, what we call projects, ideas, concepts, and notions that were generated from the participants who said, we have a problem with stormwater in our community. And therefore, our job was to collect all of them and then start to go to the next phase, which is doing the one-on-one when we get the more detail and deeper dive on what is exactly the issue described in a general terms. In addition to that, we have the community assistance, which is, again, one of those 6 recovery support functions that go out to the communities, again, try to identify what are the primary concerns for the long-term recovery piece. As a result, to date, we did introductory meeting with 22 counties and 39 communities. And based on that, then it has been identified that 7 of those counties requested a specific long-term recovery plan and support, and 3 of the communities also requested support to develop some sort of long-term recovery plan. The idea is that as we start this process, we identify specific needs and do the public engagement with those communities. In addition, I will say that through the USDA, which is one of the agencies that came to support the disaster, we were able to have fund recovery centers, which during Hurricane Ian was the first time that those were utilizing. Now they became a best practice for the entire country. As a result of that, we had the participation of about 215 farmers, and also we had additional about 100 different federal partners that participated and provided assistance in terms of resources. Next slide, please. As I pointed out at the beginning, this again is the primary 6 federal partners that come to support the IRC, and we refer to them as the recovery support function. Again, is the way that the IRC can bring those partners in order to provide assistance with the for the long-term recovery. This is a process. Again, we started when we do our initial listening sessions, and then we move throughout to go into details. It's like we start peeling out the onion, and as we do that, then we get to the specifics of where the need is, the depth of requirements and the type of resources that will be needed, and then later on is do the alignment on what can those resources be provided through any of the entities that I mentioned before, either through the federal or through the philanthropic or nonprofit organizations. So where we are now is in that final stages of doing the more of the strategic development on how then we will move to the next phase, which is the implementation. So that's all what I have for today. And if there are any questions, I'm more than happy to see if I can answer those.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay, great. And I'm looking forward to continue the relationship that we started, not only with Jennifer Hecker, but with the organization itself, not only for now, but for the future. Thank you very much.
Leda, if you could hold on just a second, let's just make sure that there's no one online who has a question.
Okay.
Feel free, if you're online, to unmute and ask a question if you have one. All right, anyone else in the room? All right, thank you.